Welcome back to the Frozen Forum podcast. I'm your host, Alex Nagy, joined with our other host, Nathan DaCosta. How is it going, Nathan?
Not bad. We finished last week with a win. Love it. Energy's up. How are you doing?
Man, I'm at work. We're recording early again for you. This is a Nathan DaCosta special right here. Is recording before his bedtime of 7 o'clock at night. So we're doing good today. But the day's not over yet. So
the day is not over. But we don't have a game tonight.
Don't have a game tonight. We have a game tomorrow and Saturday. We just got off of 3 games, which I have to say, like, the game last night was fantastic to watch, and we had a great time. But the other 2, man, I was riled up on Saturday, and Sunday was hard to watch. So that was kind of the weekend, eh? Like that was kind of tough weekend.
Yep. That it was tough. It was tough. But I think we do have some notable stars though this week.
We do.
Although those games were not the best, we have some good stars. Do you want to give us yours?
Yeah, I'll give you mine, and then you can give me yours. I originally had Patrick Laine up here, but I then actually started looking at things, and I was like, man, I can't justify it this week yet. He had a great game yesterday, so he's my honorable mention of the week. I've got Nick Suzuki first on this list out of our 3 stars. I put Lane Hutson second, and I put Samuel Montembeault third. What do you think about that?
That is interesting. I don't know about Lane Hutson. Lane Hutson contributed to the goals in the Bruins game.
He had 4 points through the last 3 games, and he is now, I think they said, the all-time leader in points in a game, like, in a row. I don't even know how do you even call that record, like
points.
He's at a point streak. That's what it's called.
Yeah, he's a
point streak. God, 4 games, which is the most any rookie defenseman has ever had with the Montreal Canadiens, which is a pretty cool stat. Again, 4 assists through the last 3 games. I thought he played phenomenal hockey. I thought he was definitely not the reason we lost any of those games that we did lose, and he was definitely one of the reasons that we won against the Islanders last night.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Okay, I also had Nick Suzuki at first. And then second, just because it's his return. I was debating between second and third. Like, I want to put Mike Matheson up there. Did he have 2 goals this week? No, he only
one and 1 assist. What are you talking about over here?
I just want to see this.
Yo, Mike Matheson was the reason we freaking lost the Boston game. Are you kidding me? Like, he's just single-handedly, like I swear he had an interview for the Boston Bruins that day. Like the Bruins GM called him and was like, "Bro, you want to play for us? Show us what you're worth to us."
He looked all right in the Rangers game. And if you want me to be completely honest, I didn't watch the Bruins game. I watched the Rangers game, and I watched...
I can tell you didn't watch the Bruins game, because if you watched the Bruins game, you would be like, we need this Mike Matheson guy gone, and then you would simultaneously realize that nobody in their right mind would ever trade for him.
Okay. We'll stick with your 3 stars then. But I think we can both agree on Nick Suzuki. He's been our biggest contributor this week. So
Man, I mean, I actually looked at it, and then I took another look at it. Like, 6 points, including 2 goals. Is that right? Through 3 games? Man, I love this guy.
Unreal. I mean, another honorable mention was also Cole Caulfield. He had 3 goals as well through these games.
3 goals, and I mean, what is he up to now? He's at 15, I think, on the season.
He's at 16. 16
now, yeah. Like, pretty good. They actually changed the one they changed was the Boston game. It looked like it was Arbor Jackey's goal, but I guess they switched over to Cole. But yeah, no, he had a good week. They all had good weeks. I will say the top players on the team I thought had good weeks. The Rangers game in my head is a win. I don't care what anybody says. We should have 2 points on the book in that game. Plain and simple.
Are we going to blame the refs again?
I don't even think it's blaming the refs, honestly. I don't think we played the New York Rangers. Like we played the referees. Like they're on one side of the ice was the refs, and the other side was us. And that was it. That was the whole game. And it was so incredible to watch that I've already named this episode. This episode is called Habs versus Refs, because like what on earth was that? Like it was the most ridiculous like game I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like it. The number of things that were not called on the Rangers and the number of things that were called on the Habs, incredible. Now, The last call, which ended up deciding the game, right? The Kirby Dach high stick. Yeah, it was a high stick. That's a good call. But we're not ever in that situation if the Bruins are losing the game because they didn't score on the stupid Josh Anderson penalty, right? On that power play. Like Josh Anderson went to the box, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, it is apparently interference or whatever they called. I don't even know what they called, to be honest. Maybe it was roughing. To finish a check, they called a penalty.
Josh Anderson roughing.
There you go. You called it roughing. 2 minutes to the box for finishing a check. And the number of things that were missed against the Rangers in that game was, my goodness. We're going to talk more about this. I want to do our Frozen Forum Flash number 3. I've got some fun questions for you, Nathan, and then we can kind of go in more into this Rangers game. Because if I talk too long on these refs, we're going to be here all night.
Okay, let's get into the Flash then.
Okay, are you ready, Nathan DaCosta?
Yep.
Okay, so starting. Welcome to the third ever Frozen Forum Flash. We have 10 questions, 5 on the Habs, 5 on the rest of the league. We're going to give you 30 seconds per question, and they start right now. Question 1. Now that Patrik Laine is back, and we're basically guaranteed to make the playoffs, the question is, how many rounds are we going to win?
4. What are you talking about? We are getting another cup, baby. Montreal Canadiens 2025 Stanley Cup champions. It's happening. You saw what happened last night. Patrik Laine in his bag with an absolute snipe. Montreal Canadiens winning 4 rounds, Stanley Cup champs.
Heard it here first, everybody. That was nice and quick, but we'll keep going, though. We got question number 2. Given that he is a goal per game player, how much would you extend him this offseason, and should it be more than Connor McDavid?
Hell no. Hell no, it's not more than Connor McDavid. But he's definitely like a 8-9 million a year player. We got to see how he produces, obviously, through the rest of the season. But good start. Keep doing what you're doing, Laine. We like to see it.
I thought you'd like that question. We'll go right into question number 3. How much money was given to the referees before the Rangers game?
I'm convinced Zibanejad probably paid him off. Probably like 10K each, maybe a few donuts here and there too. I think that's what they got. All their calls.
It's definitely above zero, though, right?
It's above zero. I can see. I'm looking at the penalties right now. This is ridiculous. There is so many against the Habs, and the Rangers got a few. Just got a slew along with the Canadiens because there was a scuffle. That was it.
Yep. That's correct. That was that game. We'll go into question number 4. We're talking about the international, whatever they're calling it, the Four Nations face-off in February. The teams come out tonight, but we do have insider information on what those teams look like. So, right now the reports say no Nick Suzuki, no Cole Caulfield, making Team Canada and Team USA. My question to you is Brandon Hagel really that good?
No, he's not. I don't see how Brandon Hagel can make the team, and players like Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki, also Tage Thompson. How is Tage Thompson not making the roster as well? Like, does he not have the same amount of goals as Caulfield right now? Or if not, he's like 1 or 2 below. He's got the size. I don't know how a player like Brandon Hagel can make it, and I understand the argument for Caulfield a little bit. He's a bit small, but I don't know who's making these selections. Some of the players seem off.
Just a little bit off. I would agree with that. We'll go question number 5, the last one covering the Montreal Canadiens. What is better, love or a Cole Caulfield hug after you score a goal in the Bell Center?
I think if I pick the latter, then it's both, right? So obviously the latter. And Patrik Laine, I know, was feeling the hug and the love from all the Habs fans pouring down on him. You know what's so good about the Habs arena? It's like all the seats are coming down to the players on the ice, and you can just hear everyone. The crowd exploded last night. Might have to bleep that. The crowd exploded last night when he got that goal, especially because it was the first goal of the game too. It was just so poetic.
So poetic indeed, and I would agree. It is definitely the same thing for the second one. So we'll go into our questions on the NHL. The first one is a little bit more, I don't know, not as fun, I guess. But it is important. David Jiricek gets traded from the Columbus Blue Jackets to the Minnesota Wild for Damon Hunt, 2025 first-round pick, a 2026 third and fourth-round picks, and a 2027 second-round pick. Your thoughts on the trade, Nathan? Should the Montreal Canadiens have traded for him? More importantly, why do all of these teams keep including so many draft picks in these goddamn trades?
I want to hear your thoughts on this. This is your 30 seconds. I have no comment.
Man, all I'll say, I don't understand why. Here, I'll take your 30 seconds for this one. I don't understand why the Montreal Canadiens couldn't have offered something better. Damon Hunt has like an awful prospects, whatever. You know those people that post those player cards and stuff. His player card looks awful, so it's not even a real player coming back. Juracek is a young defenseman, 21 years old, right shot defenseman. Like what more do you need from Montreal? But I don't know. So anyways, we don't get him. Goes to Minnesota. We'll talk about Minnesota. I want your thoughts here. Minnesota is now top of the league. Winnipeg is on a little bit of a losing streak. So with that, the Minnesota Wild top the NHL. Do you believe in the Minnesota Wild?
No, they have been winning goals by very slim margins. I don't know how much longer they're going to be able to keep doing that. I will say, Kaprizov, though, has been on a heater the whole season. I haven't seen him play a bad game yet. But as a team, I just don't see the depth there. They have a solid first two lines. They have a solid D core. You know what? I'm contradicting myself again. I don't believe in them winning the cup, but I believe in them making a second, third round playoff run this year. They have the team to do it.
Perfect. Okay. Well, with that in mind, we'll flip a little bit because the other hot team in the league right now are the Toronto Maple Leafs, the hottest team, in fact, over the last 10 games. They are 8-2, which is league leading. Minnesota is actually 7-3 in the last 10. What will the score be in their Game 7 loss in the first round?
Game 7 is going to be a 2-1 loss to the Florida Panthers, most likely.
Does it even matter who it is?
Doesn't matter. It's going to be 2-1 loss in overtime. They're going to be up in the series. Yep, they're going to be up in the series 3-2, game back at home, lose that game, go to the other arena, lose. That's it.
I like it. I like the prediction. We'll flip divisions a little bit. We have a new goaltender in the Vancouver Canucks. While Thatcher Demko is injured, I think. Maybe he's just bad. I don't know. Kevin Lankinen is now 10-0 in away starts. Is Kevin Lankinen better than Igor Shesterkin?
This season, yes, he is. He is much better than Igor Shesterkin. The Rangers right now, I think my screen here says 10-1. They're playing solid hockey, but to have a road start like that, 10-0, right now, Lankinen's better.
I like it. And to cap it all off, the New York Rangers are 3-7 in their last 10 games without the referees. So, with that in mind, how do you think the Rangers are done? Do you think this is it? Do you think they should blow up the team? What's going on?
No, I'm kind of getting the vibes from the Rangers this year that this could be like their 2017 Penguins where you don't really know what's going to happen. Or no, 2016 Penguins where you don't really know what's going to happen with them. Then out of nowhere, they could just explode. They just become one of the best teams in the league again. And we see them making a deep cup run. Right now, I'm liking Minnesota, New York, Florida. I don't know who the fourth team will be, but those are my three favorites right now.
I like it. And that wraps up our Frozen Forum Flash. Thank you very much, Nathan DaCosta, for joining us with that today.
Yep, Rangers are not done.
Man, all I'll say, that Rangers team did not look good in that game.
I don't think they're done. Zibanejad's also had a slow start. I think they are showing their age for sure. I think they just need to get in the swing of things a little bit, and they will be just fine.
I guess at the end of the day, all that counts is the playoffs, right? So as long as you bring up the energy, bring up the volume,
exactly,
closer to, it should be fine. I asked you the question about the Habs. Watching the team play last night, do you think we actually have a chance of making it?
It will be very tight. The Islanders. Okay, first of all, Sorokin played a very solid game. He was stopping shots that most goalies in the league probably wouldn't stop. If we
had play a lot of really good chances,
play like that every night, yes, we will make the playoffs. But are the Habs going to play like that every night? Probably not. We would love to see it, but probably not. So it will be. But now that Line A is back earlier than I thought it was going to be the new year. He's definitely, he's an asset to the team, and we saw it last night. He was utilized so much. And when he has the puck, he looks so confident, but he also moves like molasses, man. Like
Yo, I don't think I've seen a player ever do this. Like this guy is slow, but like he's also not, right? Like he moves and it's like everything on ice just slows down when he has the puck. Like like the defending players too. It's like he could be skating at like half the speed as everybody else, but everybody else starts skating half the speed. I don't even know how to explain it. I think it's like he's so smooth in his movements that it looks slow, but it's actually not. And I think if you compare him to like a Lane Hudson, when you look at Lane Hudson, it looks like Bugs Bunny trying to run off the screen or something. It looks looks like a cartoon where you're trying to show that you're moving quickly. You know what I mean? I think Line is the exact opposite. I think it's like he comes in and he just like gracefully moves about and like the stuff he was doing last night, I loved it. Like some of the players on the puck, some of the defensive zone coverage too. I know there's been a lot of complaints about him defensively. He was fantastic defensively.
100% agree. It's good he's back early. That's just what I said.
What do you think about the LSD line?
Doc actually looked good. Doc looked good for
Right?
a game. Yeah. No complaints. What I saw a stat. They're all like what 6'4".
6'3". Doc is I think it's Doc that's 6'3". Line A 6'5", and Slav is 6'3". Slav is 6'3", Doc is 6'4", Line A 6'5".
That's crazy.
Which is hilarious because you look at that line and you compare it to our first line. Nick Suzuki is what, 5'11". Cole Caulfield is like 5'8", or whatever he is, maybe 5'9" on a good day. And then like Alex Newhook is 5'11". But I mean, I wouldn't split either of those two lines up right now. Like the Doc looks great. It looked great between Slavkovsky and Line. Like I thought that was easily the best game he's had all season in terms of like engagement, in terms of plays off the puck. Did he score? No, but like he was there. You know what I mean? So
I thought it was very solid. Our forwards played well. I also last night. That's why I said Mike Matheson at the beginning. I thought Mike Matheson played really well last night. Lane Hudson always plays well. Also, David Savard looked a bit slow, but he was always in position. No real big complaints from him.
David Savard looks slow. Tell me something new.
Yeah, I thought the hockey we played last night would get us into the.
We played good hockey, eh? Like and now obviously some of that is like I think everybody at the start of the season was very down because Line A was out. You know, like you have all of this excitement before the season building up. You trade for this huge guy, and then he gets injured, and you know it kind of takes away from the whole energy of the team. I just felt like last night, first of all, the Bell Center was rocking. Like every time Line or Hudson touched the puck, the building was like reverberating. You know, like you had like the people getting excited about like just the fact that they have the puck. It's not even like they could be in the defensive zone and they're doing that. You know what I mean? It's like they're just waiting for something to happen. And then Line scores that goal. And like name me two players in the NHL that can score that goal other than him.
Connor Bedard.
Like Austin Matthews, maybe?
Yeah, Matthews, yeah.
But I've never seen an Austin Matthews goal like that. Like Matthews scores beautiful goals. That goal, like I watched it in slow motion like 30 times this morning. It was like like you just look at what he does and it's so perfect. Like
Precision.
Having a player like that on the team.
Just a surgeon with that shot. Like I mean, it was exactly where he meant to put it too. It was beautiful.
No, oh man, it makes it so exciting though. Eh? Like watching him play, it's just so exciting. A player of his caliber, we haven't had a player of his caliber on the team, I think, ever. Like realistically speaking, in our lifetime, like I don't know who you're gonna compare him to, but
2014 PK Subban, baby.
No, but
maybe I'm biased, but PK Subban, my favorite player.
Yeah, your favorite player ever on the Montreal Canadiens. I'll take the stance that you're a little biased with that one because it's honestly like the offensive ability that he brings at the size that he brings. He's a power forward by every metric, you know. So to put him with Slavkovsky, who is also a power forward or supposed to be anyways, and Kirby Dach, who is the exact same thing, like that line's scary in the playoffs, man. Like that's a playoff line if I've ever heard of one. And then next season, when you bring in Ivan Demidov and you put him on the first line with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki, right? Which maybe is a second line by that point in time, which is crazy to say because, like, you know, everybody, he always talks about how Nick Suzuki's not a first line center or whatever. They like to make these comments. He's 26 points in the last 25 games, eh?
Holy, that's impressive.
More than a point per game player for the first time in his career at any point in time, I believe. But consistently, like those two lines bring such different things to the game that I think it would be extraordinarily difficult for any offense or any other team rather to adjust to it. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna go out there as a defenseman and play against the first line who plays a very specific style of hockey, and then you're gonna go play against the second line, which is the exact opposite basically, but both extraordinarily effective in what they do. I love it. I'm so excited, Nathan. Like I don't.
And even though they're bigger guys, they all got skill too. Like that's what makes them scary. Like normally we see the big guys on the other teams, and they got like heavy shots. They've got like either the speed or the shot or the awareness. But these guys have all three. Like Line has all three. Doc has two.
Doc needs to. I mean, Doc used to be the player that has both all of them. So like, you know, that's something. Again, the thing people need to remember: he is coming back from an injury that like is not easy to come back from. Right. This is the same as like Cole Caulfield last year coming off of that shoulder surgery. The first half of the season, he wasn't himself. Couldn't shoot the puck, and then the last like 13 games he scored. I don't actually have this stat pulled up, Nathan. I don't know if you can find it for me, but I'm pretty sure in the last like 40 games, Caulfield scored like 30 goals or something like that, including the end of last season. But again, like all I'm trying to say is it takes time to get back to this, you know, place where you can be productive how you're supposed to be, right?
Right. I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah. While you're doing that, I wanted to ask you about Caulfield. The first power play unit, they've put Line on that power play unit on that left dot where I like putting Caulfield. Do you think that they should split the two up or have them on the same power play unit?
You have to have them. You have to have them in the same power play unit because they are both snipers. If you have Caulfield, they're on the same side. Wait, are they on the same side?
They're on the same side.
They're on the same side. So that is the issue there, like that they're on the same side. But having them both on, one as a decoy, just because Caulfield has the amount of goals he has, having him as a decoy on the side there could be.
But where do you put him though, right? Like if you're trying to design a power play, like where do you put both to be effective? Because like both of them are effective from the exact same place.
You put Caulfield in where he normally is. Like Caulfield likes to shoot from where like Ovi's office is too, right?
Yeah.
Like he gets down there. So I think you keep Line a bit higher up. Like you even keep Line closer to the D line. And if you fake a pass to Caulfield, like you might have an opportunity to go to Line and he can skate with it too, right? So then he has more options.
I don't mind that idea.
Yeah, he can be
deceptive. I don't mind
to
that idea.
Caulfield.
Yeah, I mean, the problem for me is like I think you have to have Hudson on that first power play unit. It was actually ridiculous that they put Matheson back on it in the Boston game because like what are you doing? Like Hudson is playing well. Yeah, the power play unit didn't score in the Rangers game, but like we can't be results oriented in the NHL, right? You have to be process oriented, especially in the regular season. And it's like if you have one game or two games where you're trying something and it's not working, but they're doing all of the right things that will eventually turn into goals, then you have to keep that together, right? And it was shown. I mean, Line comes back, Hudson comes on the first power play unit, and they go 1 for 2 in the power play in the game against the Islanders, you know? Generate a bunch of other chances on that second power play, might I add. So that's kind of where I guess the real question is like, if you have Line and you have Caulfield on that, you know, on that left side, you've got Hudson on the point, you have, I mean, your two other players are going to be Slavkovsky and Suzuki. Like, where do you put both of them? You're putting Nick Suzuki in the slot?
You put Slav in front trying to get those dirty bounces in front or screen and then that's hard. Yeah.
But see that's where like and the reason I say this is because I want Slavkovsky not in front of the net. Like the reason he's got 1 goal or 2 goals this season is because he has a wicked slap shot. He has a wicked shot from that right side of the ice, the right dot. Basically the exact opposite of what Caulfield is in terms of like symmetry, I guess. But like we haven't seen any of that because he's not been there, right? And so I think if you take like I don't know what you thought about Brendan Gallagher this last week. He deserves a shout out too because like the guy is so good.
That dog, he still got that dog in him.
He does. He battles so freaking hard. It's crazy, right? Like I want Gallagher on that first power play unit to be the guy in front of the net, be the guy making havoc and tipping things, whatever. I mean, he's fantastic at it. That's what he's always been good at. But then put Slavkovsky on the right side, bring Caulfield. I mean, I don't know. See, this is the thing. Do you put Caulfield? Do you put Laine on the second unit? You know?
You could put your Caulfield out there, because then if you did that on the second unit, like you still have all the guys supporting him, and if he gets the puck on that second unit, odds are they're gonna have their second unit or second penalty kill on. Who's stopping him then?
Well, that's my whole point, right? If we're trying to build two, good units here, which I hope would be the hope, that's really where you can put. They already threw Doc down onto that second unit because I now that had to happen. That should have happened weeks ago, as I've been talking about. Doc's on that second unit. Matheson's now on that second unit, right? If you give them somebody to play with in Cole Caulfield, all of a sudden that second unit is dangerous and very dangerous. And now all of a sudden, when the first unit's just not clicking properly, they missed a few shots, whatever, they're tired. Now you've got the next unit coming out with like Alex Newhook streaking down the side. You got Mike Matheson, you've got Cole Caulfield, you've got Kirby Doc, and probably like an Emily Heineman, maybe. He's been really good too, by the way. He's 7th or something in rookie scoring this year.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either, but I saw something about it today. It might be a very specific stat. It might be like goals or something like that. But because he's got five goals this season.
I think so.
Yeah, I think he's up there for goals. But I mean that sounds a lot more dangerous to me than having both Laine and Caulfield on that first unit.
No, yeah, I can agree with that. It'll be interesting to see how St. Louis. Heineman has 6. It'll be interesting to see how Marty St. Louis plays it now with Laine back. Hopefully he doesn't keep changing up those lines, but now, yeah, he's got to figure out that power play.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Because I like the lines. I'm now set on liking the lines. I thought the deep pairs were good too. I think they were putting Hudson out with Struble, and I don't mind that at all. Gooley with Matheson makes sense too. Savard with whoever else was out on the ice this week. I think it was Jack Guy. I'm assuming it was Jack Guy and Savard. I don't mind that pairing.
It's not bad. You want to talk about the Bruins game, though? That was, from what I just saw, atrocious. It looked like
the Bruins game, like
we forgot how to play hockey, like those first 2 periods.
For anybody that doesn't know, the Boston Bruins this season turn 100 years old, and in order to celebrate the centennial, they played the Montreal Canadiens. So the game was supposed to start at 3:00. I tuned in at 4:00. The game had not started yet. They had done all of these things leading up to the game. They had all of these presentations and all this other stuff. You've got all this energy around the Bruins locker room. This was going to be a very hard game to win from the get-go, right? Like you've got Brad Marchand is like the king of this, right? Like you give him a reason to go out and try to win a game, like he's going to get his guys fired up. At the end of the day, that's kind of what we faced. We come into the game, they score quickly. They score 3 goals at one point. Like the first 3 goals were like super fast. I'm pretty sure they're like a minute and something apart. Marty St. Louis actually calls a timeout. So good job, coach. You did your job. But no, we just got outplayed. Like I don't think really we had a chance in this game. Caden Primo obviously needs to be better, and that should be the last game that we see of him. Hopefully for a month, but who knows?
Yeah, I agree. He was not great from the highlights I saw either. I mean, from what I was reading online too, it just looked like they had all the momentum up until like the end of the second.
Yeah, and props to the Habs players. They do score 3 in that game. What was the final score? 6-3?
6-3, 2 by Caulfield, 1 by Heineman.
Yeah, so I think it. I think they did make a push. They get to 5-3 and they just couldn't keep going. It has to be very hard to play in those games when you get scored a lot of goals very quickly. But the difference between the Montreal Canadiens right now and a Stanley Cup competitor, like a real team that could win it, is what we saw in that Buffalo game last night, right? Look, the Buffalo Sabres go up 4-0 after the first period and lose, right? The energy that the Colorado Avalanche brought in that game is what got them a Stanley Cup. And so if we want to win eventually, which you better believe that we do, We need to figure out a way to come back in those games. When we're getting absolutely slaughtered, we need to take a breath, go back at it, and win the hockey game. I don't think we're yet at the point where we can do that.
I also think some of that comes with experience and just some older guys in the room. The Avs have guys that have won the Stanley, a majority of their team have won the Stanley Cup. They know how to deal with stressful situations. Even though they had 4 goals scored on them quickly in the first period, they did not let that get to them. Shout out to my boy Brennan Clark. But your Sabres, man, what are they doing?
Man, no, the Sabres. I was gonna have a question in my flash today about the Sabres because they make it so easy. They make the content so easy, but I have a lot of sympathy in my heart for Sabres fans because it's been 2011.
Yeah. Yep. And they're the closest team to us in Niagara.
2011.
Brutal.
I mean, the first thing they got to do, the first thing the Buffalo Sabres got to figure out is how to get enough Buffalo Sabres fans in the building. Because every game you go to, half the crowd is the away crowd. And, that's not conducive to winning a lot of hockey games to begin with. But, no, bad game to watch, eh?
Brutal game to watch. I was almost going to go to that game.
Were you?
Yes, I almost got last-minute tickets. That would have been crazy to see in person, but...
It would have been crazy indeed.
Yeah. The Bruins the Sabres and the Penguins almost blew it last night. Tristan Jarry standing on his head. I don't know if you watched that game, but Jarry had 45 shots against him.
Whoa.
Penguins were up 4-1 heading into the third, and then the Panthers get 3 quick ones.
Oh yeah, I saw this because my guy Sam Bennett scored a goal.
Sam Bennett did get a goal.
Yeah, love Sam Bennett as a side note. What a great waiver wire pickup.
I think I have the best waiver wire pickups in the league, though. I will say we can discuss this.
Yeah, sure.
We can discuss this right now.
What place are you in the league?
Okay, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. I've lost the weeks by marginal amounts.
I got destroyed last week.
This week I'm getting
destroyed.
But my pickups consist of Ryan Donato, who has been on a tear, Ivan Barbashev, Mason Marchment, Jake Middleton, who is getting a point a game as a defenseman, which is pretty solid. Anthony Stolarz, Peter Mrazek is a point merchant because he plays every game.
I can't believe you got Stolarz. That's a pretty good pickup. You said Mrazek too, eh? Yeah, I mean the team looks good, I won't lie, but the 9th place in the standings is yeah, and let me just check quickly. Where are you in points for? You're 9th as well. Okay. And And points against, you have the 4th least points against your team.
Hey, I'm gonna bounce back. Bounce back time. Inbound.
Yeah. No, last week was ridiculous. I scored 80 more points than 9 of the teams in our league and lost.
Yeah, that was rough.
Crazy. Shout out Michael Blair for putting together a team that scored 400 and something points last week. Kind of crazy, actually. His team looks way too good. I will say I'm very scared. I need some other people to beat him because I don't want him anywhere close to the playoffs.
Okay.
I will be texting people on Snapchat to say, hey, set your rosters, please, because you're playing Michael.
Okay. I'll take a look at his team after this pod.
Yeah. In other news, I wanted to talk to you about something. We had our very first PWHL game of the season on Saturday. The Montreal Victoire went to overtime and then to a shootout. I don't know if you watched the shootout. I was watching the shootout live. Marie-Philippe Poulin goes first in the shootout and misses. But the NHL does this wrong. The PWHL does not. Marie-Philippe Poulin could go again 4th in the shootout order. She goes 4th. She scores. And the Montreal Victoire win their very first game of the season. They play again tonight, as a side note, at I think it's 7 o'clock.
Okay. Might have to put that one up. Also, I saw this Sarah Nurse jailbreak goal. That is interesting. I wish the NHL would have that. That's so
such a good rule, eh?
Yeah.
Such a good rule, man.
Yeah. I love that rule.
The PWHL does it good. You know what? Man, the rule that they implemented this year about I mean, we talked about this on the podcast, right? It was the whole you can't change lines after you've taken a penalty. That's a great rule. I mean, jailbreak has always been a great rule. And their point system work how it's supposed to work, 3 points for a win, 2 points for a win after regulation time, 1 point for a loss after regulation time, and 0 for a loss. It's how points should work. But the NHL seems to disagree.
Talk to Gary Bettman about that one.
Yeah, I talked to Gary Bettman. This guy's from the 1800s, man. Like I don't know what you're supposed to talk to him about. This guy wouldn't change clothes if they had been worn for 30 days. Like I don't know. Like
I see what you get at. Yeah. Want to cover some other hockey news this week?
Yeah. What else have you been covering?
There hasn't been anything crazy, but I mean,
the Wild
are in first place.
The Wild are in first place, and I mean that like, Kirill Kaprizov. I asked you earlier in the season if you thought Kirill Kaprizov would win the Hart Trophy, and you said absolutely not. Have you changed your stance on that?
No, he's not winning the Hart. He's not winning the Hart. I still think it's either going to be McDavid or McKinnon. One of them are about to just explode, even if it takes them another 10 games. The amount of point production they can put up, we've seen what they can do. I think it's McDavid or McKinnon.
I like it. I mean, it's a pretty solid bet. Take the two best players in the league. But I feel like it could happen, man. Like, look, the Hart Trophy is not awarded correctly. Maybe we can talk about this. I don't know how you would award it, but I believe that you should award the Hart Trophy to very literally the most valuable player in the league. And the way you determine who was the most valuable is you say to all of the teams, you say, okay, if you didn't have to pay anything, you didn't have to trade any assets, which player in the league would you have wanted on your team this year? And guess who it would have been for the last 6 years? It would have been Connor McDavid. Why? Because he's the best freaking player in the NHL. Like, I don't care. Now, maybe you can make the argument last year that Nathan McKinnon was actually better and that Nathan McKinnon's year and his contributions were actually better. But every year before that, there's not a single team in the NHL. Like, you go back, you ask the Tampa Bay Lightning when Kucherov won the Hart. Go ask the Tampa Bay Lightning. Say, would you have traded Kucherov 1-for-1 for McDavid? They would have said, absolutely, not even a question. Of course we would do that. Oh, you could get Nikita Kucherov off this team if we have, like, or whatever. You know what I mean? Absolutely, they would have done that. The reason is McDavid is the most valuable player in the league. That's what the Hart Trophy is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be some, who sort of had the best season, right? And this is why, going back to when Carey Price won it, every single team in the league would have taken Carey Price that season. If any team in the league had Carey Price that was an actual Stanley Cup contender, they would have won the cup with Carey Price on that team. Like, it doesn't even matter what you give up. You can give up your best player. Like the Pittsburgh Penguins could have given up Sidney Crosby. They would have won the Stanley Cup. Why? Because that's how good he was that year. You can't say the same for Nikita Kucherov. You can't say the same for whoever else is winning it. If Connor McDavid is the best, it should go to Connor McDavid.
Okay, I agree. But so why do you think Kirill Kaprizov? I mean, so far he's looked really solid, don't get me wrong, but...
Look, I don't think he's just been solid. I think he's been outstanding. And I think if you look at how McDavid is playing this year, and you look at how Nathan McKinnon is playing this year, they're not having bad years. Don't get me wrong. But there's a certain second level to the game that is outside of just scoring and passing to get assists, right? It's also how you bring the rest of the team up. And I mean, look, you look at the Minnesota Wild, find me the player on that team that is bringing the team up, right?
Well, yeah, it's Kaprizov.
Like who? But there's nobody else, right? Like who else? You're gonna say Joel Eriksson Ek? I mean, he's been playing on the second line,
and
right?
he's
You're
injured.
gonna tell me and he's injured now, right? Like you're gonna tell me Ryan Hartman, right? Like you're gonna tell me Marc-Andre Fleury or Philip Gustafsson? Like, you know what I mean? Like, these players are not the ones that are driving the force of this team. I look right now as it stands in the league. The Edmonton Oilers are 14th in the league. The Colorado Avalanche are the 15th. And so you can say whatever you want about McDavid and whatever you want about McKinnon, but neither of them are driving their team to be the best versions of the team that they can be. And I think that's where I look at Kaprizov right now. And look, I think if you inject him in any lineup around the league, he would elevate that lineup. Not even just the line he's on, not just the power play line he's on. Like, his presence around the team would make the entire team better. And I can't say the same about the other two. Now, that could change in a week.
Yeah,
McDavid has that effect.
As of right now, yes, 1,000,000%. if the season were to end right now, yeah, Kaprizov would win the Hart. The season is a quarter of the way through, so
It's a little more than a quarter.
A little more than a quarter. Yeah, you're right.
It's almost a third now.
That's true.
It's a third for some of the teams even, right? But this is what I'm saying. If the season continues the way that it's going, I think Kaprizov is that guy. And I think any team in the league would be lucky to have him and would trade a lot to get him. Now, the real question is, would Edmonton trade Connor McDavid for Kirill Kaprizov? And maybe they would, and maybe they won't for a bunch of other reasons. But I think my point still stands.
Yeah, your point's valid. Your point's valid. So
it's like, I think the question is more, it's not whether or not they would trade McDavid for Kaprizov, is that at the end of the season, would they have traded Connor McDavid's season for Kirill Kaprizov season, right? And if McDavid isn't that driving force and Kirill Kaprizov is, then they should retroactively want the season that Kirill Kaprizov had. A very convoluted way of getting there, but I think you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. If Kirill Kaprizov played a better season than Connor McDavid, period, he wins the Hart. That's what you're saying. I can agree with that. So yeah, Minnesota Wild first in the league. Last night, another Johnny Gaudreau ceremony in Calgary. Blue Jackets in Calgary get their 13th win of the season for the team. Yep.
That's crazy. Man, did you see the goal that, just talking about numbers, the fun numbers in the NHL. Caulfield's 13th goal of the season was assisted by Nick Suzuki, whom had his 13th assist of the season. So 13th Cole assist. Caulfield, number 13, got his 14th goal. And then Suzuki, number 14, got his 13th assist.
You're a wizard at finding these stats because I don't know how you find that.
I swear, I got to shout out all of the people I follow on Twitter because I just see people post things like this and I go, oh, that's a cool thing. And I'll mention that in the podcast.
That's good. Maybe I should actually use Twitter a bit more and quit mindlessly scrolling on Instagram. That's something I got to start.
A lot more productive, man.
Yep.
Breaking news. Shout out to Elon for giving us a platform where you can see a lot more than you really want to, but sometimes it
just pops up on your feed and it's like, what the I'm looking at all this hockey stuff and then there's
that's not exactly what I meant, but sure, we'll go with that.
What are you talking about?
No, man, I don't know. I actually had to mute Alex Jones. I don't know if you know who that is, but like, man, his things kept popping up on my feed and I was like, man, I don't care what this guy is saying. This guy's saying some things that are probably completely factually wrong, but like, you know, but that's okay because some people like that, and if some people like that, they should get to watch it. I don't know. My take.
Also, thanks to Elon for all this action in crypto right now. Thanks to Elon. Purely, I don't think anything else is driving it. It's just Elon and Trump. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's more Elon probably because
it's a lot more Elon.
Yeah.
Department of Government Efficiency, Doge. Okay, we veered off from hockey. Let's get back on track.
What do we have coming up this week?
This week, Les Habitants. Let me see. It is loading right now.
It's loading. We play tomorrow and we play Saturday for sure. Tomorrow's game, let's see if I can guess. I think it is not in Montreal. Maybe it is in, I don't know. I've tried. I've given up. I looked at this today. I should remember.
If I told you it is in Montreal, I feel like you could make an educated guess as to who we play.
Yeah, educated guess. That means that there's 31 different teams that could
No. If you know who's playing tonight, you could make an educated guess.
I suppose, yes. Oh, you're saying they're playing tonight?
Yes.
And they would be playing in Toronto because they would then want to go from Toronto to Montreal. So if it's that team, then we play the Nashville Predators.
Bingo! We get to play the Nashville Predators tomorrow night at home in Montreal. Actually, all of our games this next week are at home.
Man, Nashville. What's Nashville been doing? Man, they were last in the league with us for a while. They can't be that good.
They were last, and then I think they've been doing all right recently.
No, they're farther below us actually right now. They're 31st in the NHL. Easy game. The one thing we've been good at, Nathan DaCosta, this year has been beating all the teams that we're supposed to beat, for the most part. So, we didn't beat Utah, which, I mean, they weren't down there when we lost to them. I mean, look from a win-loss perspective, we're only 4 wins outside of being a 500 team, right? So if we beat Nashville, that's 10-13. What's the Saturday game?
I'm looking at all. Okay, so we play Washington, and then we play Anaheim on Monday.
Yeah,
But I'm looking
Washington.
at our next.
The key for Washington is that Ovi's not going to be back. So the fact that Washington's second in the league right now is pretty scary. But Alex Ovechkin is the guy who has Montreal's number. And so if there's no Alex Ovechkin, then I predict an easy win. Okay, next. And then Anaheim, you said, on Monday?
That is fully dependent on Lucas Dostal. But yes, Anaheim on Monday.
That Anaheim team, I don't know what they're doing. They're supposed to be like 2 years ahead of us in this rebuilding process. Like at least, if not more. What are they doing?
Say it again. Trevor Zegras just hits the Renegade with Dixie D'Amelio, and that's all he does. Forgot how to play hockey. The entire team forgot how to play hockey. I'm looking at our schedule. The next 10 games are all very winnable, except one. We play Nashville, Washington, Anaheim, Pittsburgh. Winnipeg will be tough. Buffalo, Detroit, Columbus.
Wow. Talk about a hard end of the season, probably, because I'm pretty sure you get rid of all of our games against the bottom teams in the next 2 weeks. Yeah. Because then after Christmas, we go down to Florida, right? And we do the Tampa game, we do the Florida game, classic Montreal.
Yeah. Yep. So that's our next week. Nashville, Washington, Anaheim, all in Montreal.
Nice. I mean, 7 o'clock games for all of them, right?
Yes, 7:30.
Yeah, we try to get the 7 o'clock games in Montreal. The Habs like it better when it's a 7 o'clock start. I don't really have much else to talk about this week. I mean, look, actually, you know what? We've gone around it for long enough. We can go back to our favorite topic, the title of today's video. Nathan, did you hear Marty St. Louis' comments on the refs after the game against the Rangers?
What do you say?
Ask me any question about the game that does not talk about the refs. I'm going to pretend to be Marty.
That's what he said verbatim?
My goodness, Nathan. You ask me a question.
Isn't about the refs?
That is not about the refs. Pretend you're a reporter. Ask me a question as if I'm Marty, and I'll answer how Marty answered the questions, okay?
Okay, how do you think your forwards played on the power play out there tonight?
I really thought that the forwards had a good game. I can't say anything on the refs.
What do you think of Montembeault's performance tonight?
Monty was solid. I thought he played his game pretty well. But I really just can't say anything about the refs.
Okay, I'm getting the gist here.
Every question, man. He said it 6 times. He said 6 different questions. He was like, "I like the way our team played. I won't say anything about the refs."
That's how you get a message across right there.
Without getting fined, without getting a $25,000 fine.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Absolutely.
But guess who can't get fined?
Can't? The refs.
Oh, that too. But no, I was talking about you and me. Those refs.
So bad. So bad.
Can you read off the penalties in that game, please? Also, sorry, as a side note, you're gonna read. There's a scrum. We had like a full line brawl kind of thing happen. We didn't exactly start it. Like maybe Doc started it a little bit, but we ended up being on a penalty kill after that scrum, and it was the Rangers guy who was pushing Doc into the goaltender. Which, like, they look over at the bench, and one of the quotes that you can see being said from Marty St. Louis is, "Who started it?" Like he's asking the ref, "Who started it?" Because the Rangers started it, and then they also got a power play, which is ridiculous. But let's hear it. What were the penalties in this game? Sorry. As a side note, I forgot about that. That fight was phenomenal.
Big guys throwing some bomb.
But phenomenal. I've not ever seen a fight disengage so that they can re-engage. Like they let go of each other, skated around, and came back into it. Like it was crazy.
Mike Matheson, puck over the glass, game delay. Chris Kreider holding against Gooley, Vincent Trocheck high stick, Carrick unsportsmanlike, Anderson, Savard, Jack-Eye, Zibanejad, Lindgren, Quick, all roughing penalties.
Slavkovsky too.
Slavkovsky, yes. And then Doc high sticking double minor.
Yeah. So what really stands out here, right, is Heineman and Matheson. So Matheson gets that puck over the game, the puck over the glass. Sorry, that is a penalty. Emil Heineman 2-minute minor for holding against Chris Kreider was an interesting call. Is all I'll say. The fight, obviously. Chris Kreider gets 2 minutes for holding against Caden Gooley. Trocheck gets 2 minutes for high-sticking Christian Dvorak, which is a penalty, obviously. Sam Carrick gets a 2-minute minor for unsportsmanlike against Jack Eye because Trocheck dropped the gloves, which, by the way, I don't know if you guys remember, but in some games, dropping the gloves doesn't actually get you a penalty. So it's good that, attacking a guy does get you a penalty. But what really stands out here, right, is all of the things that were not called in this game.
But you can't see it. You
can't see it. It's not going to be listed here. Look, Josh Anderson gets that 2-minute minor for roughing against Ryan Lindgren in that second period. Josh Anderson finished a check. That's not a penalty. The number of trips, also, the Rangers scored. That goal that they scored to go up 4-3 to win the game with 20 seconds left, there was a trip on that play. Yoel Armia was taken completely out of the play on that goal.
Mm-hmm.
Like he went from competing for the puck, somebody takes his legs out, which is a trip, and because of that, all of a sudden it's a 5-on-3, and then in the 5-on-3 they score as Armia's trying to get back. That's a trip. Yeah. Anybody can look at that thing. He's got his stick in his feet, and he goes.
Also, shout out to Yoel Armia making Team Finland. Good on you.
Yes, and more importantly, Yoel Armia making Team Finland over Jesperi Kotkaniemi.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that guy?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Our useless $3.4 million player is better than their useless $5 million player that they signed him up for. Hey, while we are on this, or while we're talking about this, the United States roster has been announced.
Just now?
I'm not smart enough to know who's not on it, but I can tell you who is. We've got Matt Boldy, Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, Jake Gensel, Jack Hughes, Chris Kreider, Dylan Larkin, Austin Matthews, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, Vincent Trocheck are the forwards. On defense, Faber, Fox, Hannafin, Hughes, McAvoy, Slavin, and Werenski. Goalies, Hellebuck, Ottinger, and Jeremy Swayman from Boston, who's not having a good season. This is where we need to find who's not on the team, right? The people who we wanted on the team. Cole Caulfield, not on the team.
I have no idea how Chris Kreider is on that team. Chris
Kreider
is playing
awful season, man.
So bad.
Awful season. No, Tage Thompson. No. Sorry, right before I say that, actually. What number is Cole Caulfield at right now? What did you say he was?
16.
16 goals? That's tied for third in the NHL. I wonder if that's a good player. Nope. Let's not include that guy. Let's instead include Jake Gensel. What is that? Second, like, what is he playing? Second line this year in Tampa? Chris Kreider. What does Chris Kreider have? Like 11 points this season?
Chris Kreider's the craziest one out of every player you said.
Vincent Trocheck?
I didn't hear you say Trocheck, but yeah, he's not playing good either.
Like, I just don't, I don't know. I do think that there's always going to be a bias to include the players that are on the good teams or that were on the good teams last year or whatever else you want to say. But, man, that's tough. On the forward side for Team Canada, those have just come out courtesy of Pierre LeBrun. We've got McDavid, Crosby, McKinnon, which is a side note. That's going to be an insane line if that stays like that. We got Brad Marchand, Braden Point, Seth Jarvis, Hagel, which is the one I asked you about earlier, because, you could say whatever you want about anybody. Brandon Hagel is on this team, ladies and gentlemen. So is Anthony Cirelli. Look, Anthony Cirelli, first line or second line center, I guess, for Tampa Bay. This is what I mean. Jake Gensel's not even the second line. What is second line left wing this year? I don't even know. There's so many Tampa Bay Lightning players on this team. The Tampa Bay Lightning are not good this year. Why are you including them in this list? Why? Because John Cooper is your coach? Because you're going into the back room with him and making sure he feels nice after the game. Can you know how to do that best because you're on his team normally? I don't understand what they're doing on this team. That's a crazy thing I just said, by the way. I don't know if you caught exactly what I meant.
I got it. I don't know.
Also, look, you can say he doesn't deserve it. Connor Bedard isn't on this team either, and that's a choice. Big one though. Samuel Montembeault makes the team.
Good, very good. But I don't understand this Bedard not being on the team. Like, even if he legitimately doesn't deserve to be on the team, he's like the poster child of the NHL right now. He's like,
well, more than that, he's been playing with 14 different forwards, and none of them are good. As you said very eloquently when I asked you about him in that first Frozen Forum flash. Yeah, I don't know. You put him on a line. But again, put him on a line with Sam Bennett and, who else is on this team that he, put him with anybody. I'm looking at this roster. Put him with anybody. Same thing can be said about Nick Suzuki, right? Is like you want to talk about, how good Nick Suzuki is. Point per game player playing with, Cole Caulfield's a good player, right? Playing with one of the worst defenses in the NHL, right? And more importantly, playing with a whole slew of people beside him. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Questionable decisions. I think we should discuss this a little bit more next week. I do have to go.
We will end the podcast here, Nathan. It was always a pleasure talking to you.
You as well. Want to take us out?
I can take us out. Thank you, everybody, for watching us and joining us for the 16th or so episode of the Frozen Forum podcast. We appreciate your time if you've made it this far. We would love if you could drop a follow, a comment, a like, 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, a comment on Spotify if you're on that platform. We appreciate all of the time that you give us, and we hope that you enjoy what we're doing for you. We would love if you could follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it, TikTok, YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube, like the video. We love everybody. We love the Habs. We got 3 games coming up this week. We'll be back again next week to talk about those. But in the meantime, go Habs, go.
Go Habs, go. Love you guys. Au revoir et bonsoir.